The good thing is Edwin Moreno isn't going to make any cameos because you're here already. Edwin Moreno is not going to walk in right now.
This session is featuring me. But no surprises.
All right. So we went into Miss Katie's class, and we did a short observation. Do you want to share with me what you what point you landed on the Get Better Faster tool for this teacher?
Yeah, so there was a few things, but I think overall where I landed was teacher radar. The reason being is that Miss Katie did an excellent job at using a strong voice and using strategies to get her class to track her. However, she didn't move around a lot, and so she missed a lot of opportunities to redirect kids. And so I think that's why I think teacher radar was where I landed.
Yeah, I agree. I landed right on teacher radar too. The main thing for me was that she didn't have. I look at this part that says hotspots, and for me, a hotspot, there were two. I didn't know if the two little boys were sleeping, if the two students were sleeping.
Yeah, Francisco.
But Francisco was actually sleeping. Right?
And Isaiah was actually reading.
Isaiah,
but he had his head down.
and he was
It seemed
reading.
like he was asleep.
So, exactly. So I think teacher radar for this teacher was going to be good because I think you're right. She had a lot of things going on and she was using proximity a little bit, but then her or the learning specialist didn't hold those two kids to account. They were allowed to.
And she was doing some aggressive monitoring, but only in specific areas. She didn't have a pathway,
Right.
So she didn't get to those kids that were falling
Right.
asleep.
Okay, good. I think we're at the same place then.
Yeah.
So when we start scripting out the coaching session, and so, and if you want to write it down, the first section will be praise. So what praise would you give this teacher?
So like I said, she had a strong voice. She didn't have to raise her voice. Her voice is strong enough, and she gets the students to listen to her right away. She did move around a lot.
Okay.
So she was circulating for the most part. She was really specific about directions. Like I want you to turn to your partner and answer this question. So she was specific. And she was really positive. So she uses a lot of positive framing, a lot of like merits for answering this question, and acknowledging students when they have answers.
Yeah. So I would even start a coaching session with her with thank you for having a clear objective, which is something
she also had a clear objective
about Yep, the character from the book. And I think Miss Katie will respond really well to that kind of like big list of praises because she's doing a great job.
Okay.
All right, now we move on to the next piece. What's the next piece in the
Name it?
We have to name it.
See it, name it.
See it, name it. And so because we use teacher radar, I would encourage you to start with this framed question. Why is it important for a teacher to have a good teacher radar? You know, why is it important?
Okay.
And then her answer might be what?
Her answer might be so that I can ensure student engagement, but 100% student engagement. I think that might be her answer.
Exactly. I think you're right. That's what we keep teaching them, right? With that, we want 100% engagement. So when you get on that 100% engagement, then we shift to an exemplar video.
Okay.
And so we have this video of this teacher, and it's right here at I think it's like 25 seconds in. This teacher does a really, really good job. See that? See what she did? Nonverbal. She went right over. She grabbed him. All she had to do in this case, I think, is like tap that kid on the shoulder. Yeah. And so once you show her this video, we have to say, what is the, have her identify the gap. What is the gap between what you saw in the video and
your own practice,
or your observation? And we have a video of the observation, so I'm thinking that maybe she can see it. Whichever way, I mean, or we can just tell her, what is if she doesn't get to this gap, because she's very reflective. She'll say, "Oh, sometimes I don't get 100%," and then you can say, "Yeah, I saw those two boys," and this you can take that opportunity to help her.
Okay.
And then, so what we do next is we're really kind of prescriptive and say your action step is.
Okay.
And so we say your action step for practice is teacher radar.
Okay.
I'm going to encourage you to, and what I do is I just use straight, this one right here, deliberately scan for the room for off-task behavior.
Yeah.
I want you to be deliberate about scanning the room. All right. And then to do it, you would encourage her to do exactly what you said. Let's map out your room, and then
have a pathway. And make sure the students see her. So use the be seen, looking strategies.
Right.
The ones we already kind of
trained them on
during the summer, like pretend you're a crane and move the sprinkler and
exactly.
Remind her of those strategies, because those are going to be really helpful.
And one thing that I would say too is, like in this case, make eye contact with every student.
Yeah.
And that way she would have known that that kid was sleeping.
Right. He was asleep. He was knocked out.
He was out.
He got me sleeping.
All right. So to end, she would have to practice. The process. So she would have to get up and say, I'm going to make eye contact with everybody. And she's really reflective, so she'll say that. But with Katie, she's kind of like all over the place.
Right.
And so we want to keep her really focused on what we want.
Yeah.
All right.
Circulation is important. Even maybe practicing some of that aggressive monitoring, because she'll get to all the students.
Exactly.
Perfect.
All right. So let's practice.
Okay.
Ready? Here's the computer with and then the whole video part you can just kind of like say,
skip.
Not skip, but like this is the video, and then I'll go watch it.
Right. So, good afternoon, Katie.
Hello.
Thank you for your time. I just want to let you know that you're doing an amazing job. I wanted to start this coaching session with some praise, because there's a lot of great things happening in your classroom, and I've seen a lot of growth from the beginning of the year to now. And some of the things that I saw in your classroom, first and foremost, is your objective. Your objective was clear. It was short but clear. And so the students knew exactly what they were going to learn that day. So thank you for doing that for the students. So it was clear, and I want to praise you on that. I also want to praise you on your strong voice. You had a strong voice, and you were able to get the students' attention really quickly. You were moving around a lot in the classroom, and I think that was really helpful for the kids, so they can see you. You were really positive, so a lot of positive framing. You were handing out merits for students, like taking risks and answering the questions that you're asking, and so you have a strong positive culture in that classroom. So
yeah, I'm really trying to really be positive around the kids, and they seem to be responding really well to it.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. Okay, so thank you for all that, and keep doing that. Some things that we also want to talk about, and something that we want to focus on, just based on the observation, is teacher radar. I know that I mentioned that you're moving around a lot, but let's work on moving around with purpose. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I always try to move around a lot, because I think it's important to make sure I watch what the kids are doing.
And so something that I saw in the 15 minutes that I was in there is that you moved around a lot in front of the classroom, but you didn't move around like in the middle or in the back. And so there were a few students who were asleep during the pair share moments, or during the time where you were explaining something. For example, Francisco was in the back, and he was like asleep. And then to the left of Francisco, we had Isaiah, who I thought was asleep at first, but he was actually reading the book that you guys were discussing. But I think he was jumping ahead.
Oh, really?
So he was engaged, but not engaged in the conversations you guys were having about the
I was
chapter.
hoping that Miss Lopez would take care of that. I actually saw that. And I was hoping Miss Lopez would take care of it.
Yeah, well, I don't think Miss Lopez was in there, so I think it's important.
Let me stop you right here.
Yes.
So, this is what Miss Katie's gonna do. She's gonna go, because you went right to, this is what I wanna see, this is what I saw.
Yes, so I had to ask the question.
Ask that question.
Yes.
Why is it important? And then I'll say, oh, it's important because I need 100% attention. And then you go straight to the video.
Okay.
And then
Instead of talking to her about her grows
yeah.
or her
Don't do the grows yet.
yet.
Where it's only one
So
grow.
just
And so
talk about just ask the
just
question.
ask the question.
Okay.
Straight
So
to the
let's
question.
rewind.
Okay, so let's go back.
So, yes, so a lot of great things happen in your classroom.
Mhm.
So, one thing that I do want to talk to you about, and I think it's going to be an area of focus for us, is teacher radar.
Okay.
Okay? Why do you think teacher radar is important to you and to the students?
Teacher radar is important because I need to know what all the kids are doing.
Exactly. Awesome. And so what I'm going to do now is actually I have a video to show you of an example of a teacher using teacher radar.
Okay.
And then I want you to just see what the teacher's doing, look at what the students are doing themselves, and then we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Wow, she was really amazing at that radar.
Right.
That's what she's gonna do.
So what are some things that you were able to see in that video?
Yeah, so she was
stood out?
amazing. I really liked the way she was went over and just touched the boy on the shoulder when he was off task, and he got right back onto being on task again. I really liked that about the video.
Yeah, awesome. And so now we also have video footage of your lesson that day, the day I wanted to observe. And so what I want you to do is we're going to look at your video,
Okay.
and then we are going to compare the two,
Yeah.
and then you're going to share what the gaps are. Okay.
Okay, great, thank you. And then, oh, look at that, he's asleep. Oh my goodness, he was asleep. Yeah.
Awesome. So, what is the gap between the first video and then your video?
So the gap was that she had all of the kids engaged, and I was trying to do that, but I didn't get everybody because those two boys were really off task over there. So that was a big gap.
Awesome.
So I think that I need to work on making sure that all the kids are on task.
Okay. And so then, what are some things that you can do to ensure that all the students are now that we know that you want 100% student engagement? What are some strategies or some things that you can do so that students are engaged?
Well, I think that I can make sure that I practice the things that you all taught me about radar, like the sprinkler, the column, and make sure that maybe I can make eye contact with all the kids.
Very, those are perfect ideas and solutions here. Okay. So, your action step, Miss Katie, is to practice your teacher radar, and then you're going to do this by scanning the room, making eye contact, creating a pathway in your classroom where you are walking around the entire classroom and not just specific areas. And then when students are disengaged, use some of the strategies that you even saw in this video, like the tapping of the shoulder or call to order, so that everybody is, tracking you and listening to you and know exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to do that. How do I do that? How would you recommend?
So the way I would recommend it is that when, for example, Francisco were to fall asleep again, then you walk over to him, tap him on the shoulder, and make sure that you don't continue your lesson until Francisco is up and ready. And if Francisco is sleepy or tired, then maybe you can have him take a little break, have him walk around a little bit, and then come back, so he doesn't throw off the rest of the class.
Oh. That's good.
So what I'm gonna do now is practice with you.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pretend that I'm a student,
Okay.
and then I'm disengaged, right? Or maybe I'm Francisco, and I'm gonna be falling asleep, and then you're pretending that you're teaching your lesson again,
Right.
and that you're circulating, and then I want you to use strategies to get me to focus on the lesson or to be engaged.
And then we would like have her stand
And
up.
we'll have
And
her
then,
stand up and practice.
and then the other piece that I'll tell you is that a lot of the times the teachers would just be listening to you talk, but it's really important. I was doing it, but to have her write it down.
Write it down?
Yeah.
Okay.
And especially this part, the plan. What is it going to look
Okay.
like? Mhm.
Have the teacher write down all these ideas and strategies and things that she feels that she needs to do.
Yeah. And just to follow up, in the follow up part, when are we going to see it? And
Okay.
then,
So I would tell her, I'm going to come into your classroom, third period, on Friday, and then I'm going to be looking for these things.
exactly.
And then I'm going to give you, and then we'll have a follow-up meeting and just give you feedback on your teacher rating.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what I want to do is a good job, by the way.
Thanks.
And what I want to do is film that as well, and
Okay.
then we'll look at it and talk about
All right.
talk about the coaching session. All right.
All right.
How you feeling?
Good.
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 All right.
Because this is I like this outline because it helps you organize your thoughts and your conversations with the teacher.
Yeah. What helps me is like the scripting helps me because I do that too. I forget,
Yeah.
like, and you want to get in.
Like you jump
really
into
fast.
you
Yeah.
jump steps, you know.
Yeah.
And there's an order of how
But-
things should happen.
Yeah. Exactly. So why is it important? Here's the video, and now I mean, Mr. T is like, all right, let's watch the video. Oh man, let's do the role play.
I like
Yeah.
I like that you asked that question. Why is it important to you to use teacher radar?
Right.
Because I know why it's important for me to have teachers do it
Mm-hmm.
because we want students to be successful, but we want the teachers to name it themselves. Like
Right.
it's important to me to use teacher radar because I want my students to do this.
Exactly.
So
Cool.
I like that question.
I know. All right.
Thanks, man.